Okay, here we are with Foam the Grounds Up first live crafting. So bear with, this is me figuring out how to craft while being live and seeing how it works. So I thought I'd start with my first project for some live streaming is making this little plastic boat thing I found. I think it was part of a board game. It had these little penguins with it, but I only found the small portion of it, one penguin and a little sail. But what I was thinking I'd try and do is turn it into a little bit of a ship for a D&D type session with some water play, and it's got this pretty cool void in it that I thought I'd initially start with trying to make a base for it that you could then pop off. So I've got some wooden sticks. Now, coffee stir sticks, as some of the streamers I've seen say. I tried to find coffee stir sticks and they said, oh, what are they? No, we call them hot dog sticks. So hot dog sticks it is what I've got. They seem a little bit thicker, or thicker than a coffee stir stick that I've seen being used, but also thinner than like a popsicle stick. So currently I'm thinking the texture of this plastic boat's already got some wood grain in here, so I was just going to leave that. And these they're a bit bigger, but I think maybe the top of the ship's going to be fancier than the inside, so I'm going to essentially trace this shape and layer it with some planking, seeing how we go. So I've got tried out this morning cutting these little ends off, and I found this tool that I had in the garage, and that should just easily pop that off and pop that off there, and it pretty simply makes some planking. And I'd better, although you can't see my face, protect my face. So we'll see what we are doing. And I've got to keep an eye on my chat. Blue Timberwolf, looks like you're doing a float. I will try and keep the comments as clean as we can. Not that this is being kid-friendly streamed or anything like that, but as per my normal gaming with my mates, it gets pretty crass, I would suppose you would say. So we'll keep my crafting out of that genre. So might do this a little bit like this. I'm hoping you can sort of hear me. I don't know if That's one thing. First stream, you got to test these things. So what I'm going to do is we'll start by getting a little bit of card. And we'll get this traced so that we can make a little bit of a base to it. And see how we go. Audio sounds good on my end. Thank you, Blue. My first test person, thank you. We play some games online, so it's good to have someone I know and can I can say that I trust Blue. We'll see. Be my first guinea pig and help me set this up. So my intention, if you didn't hear before, this has got this pretty cool hollow piece. So let's use this little penguin that came with it. They're about a 25mm character. So he's the little pirate. And he also fits quite nicely in there standing up, well below the base. So I reckon if we get this as a template, we can start a bit of crafting. So with my crafting, I've sort of, from my videos that you might have watched, just starting out, some cardboard, some foam, some bits and pieces. So I've found going to the op shops and the tip shops, you can find some pretty interesting little pieces. And go from about there. Now this is going to be, I sort of want the inside, don't I? Because I'm thinking I'm going to make the planking of the ship, and then that would sit on, if I cut the white into like a little bit of a C part, something like that, so the ship can go like this. Good old-fashioned tracing. Oh, there we go. Oh, gotta keep my head out of it. There we go. How did that turn up? So that's sort of where the ship is. Let's see what happened here. Alright, oh, good. So then that, sort of want to get that a bit smaller. No, I want that inside bit. So if I've got that correct on the outside, which I sort of do, hold on, then I sort of want to go. Now I think I've seen so Jeremy from Black Magic Craft talk about, I think, some basic woodworking things about lining up your finger and going around so you've got the same distance. Being that this is the first time I've done this, this seems to work. So hopefully that'll be the inside of that. I think you'll see what I'm planning on doing once I get this to fit properly. Now, I've sort of gone from making videos to thinking, oh, I'll just do some live streaming to at least get the crafting underway, because life has gotten busy, so crafting has turned a bit slow. So that almost does it. A little bit more off the top. So I think what I'll evolve into is using the live streaming to do some crafting live, and then make those videos that I've started once I've got some stuff made. So that's sort of like the base of the ship. So I'll cut this base and make some like seaness out of it, waves and whatnot. And then as you're using the ship in a game, and then you battle inside the ship, you would take that off, and that would be the lower deck. So your guy would be in there. So what I'm planning on doing, if that works, yeah, that works, is making some planking out of these that I was making, and sort of layering it up a little bit, sort of decking like. So I've got to cut a few of them, and then as I cover that, it'll be the lower deck, and then I'll cut this, and this will be the piece that it sits on as it's moving around in the tabletop ocean, as it were. So yeah, let's do some crafting. So hot dog sticks or coffee stir sticks, and I hadn't really, this is live crafting 101, is how much do you pre-prepare for live crafting? I mean, do we just have, should I have prepared a bunch of these sticks? You know, now that I've shown you how I'm doing it, you don't really want to see me do it, but unfortunately I've got no way out of that, because I have mini sticks, but I only just cut 2 or 3. So how am I going so far, Blue? Am I causing some interest? Am I allowing you to see what I'm trying to create here? Or anyone else for that matter? I mean, I don't know. Sort of, I've got 3 viewers by the looks of it. 5 views, 3 viewers. 2 people have left. But hey, that's what firsts are about, figuring it out. So I think once I start getting a bit of rhythm, not necessarily with cutting sticks, but with live crafting, then maybe this would flow a bit better. Maybe I should This is probably something that's not such a bad tool, and bad as I mean dangerous. I could get my two little girls to prepare my crafting materials for me, so we'll see. Got you on the background while I work on my PC. Oh, fair enough, Blue. I'm glad I can be your ambience. I started thinking as I was coming down to log in this evening, is you see people on their streams, they have we'll be back soon and on the way or whatever. I haven't done any of that. This was just straight OBS and YouTube, and oh, I need a camera, oh, I need a speaker, oh, I need some light. I think I've got those things okay. I mean, I've got a little view of myself, well, not myself, but my hands, my craft area, and it seems to be well lit. So we'll see how I can improve going forward. I suppose I've watched so many different streamers, like, I don't want to, I've obviously named Jeremy from Black Magic Craft, but there's been Devs and Dice, Leaf I believe his name is, who does the coffee stir sticks. But he, like, people live stream there and you know who they are, their faces and whatnot. I will not do that for now. Don't know if I will, but we'll see. So far, that's not a bad process to get probably enough to do my little below deck. And I was thinking, these, as a crafter, you can't waste anything. This valuable little pieces right here. So my wife would understand that I need to keep these things, and probably cringe at the same time. So what would you do? Would you go halfway and start? So what do we got? 5, 2.5, 2.5. Oh, mass on the fly, I've got to be careful with that. So that'll be the center. I don't have any points of reference. You get no face, Game Zombies. You get no face. Just these works of art here, these hands. These hands that are going to be all you need to see as they work their magic on these materials. The two people I know who are watching me so far are in New Zealand, so this is just craft glue stuff from the Kmart. I was trying to read all the details about how you promote stuff, and I'm not funded by anyone. It's just me, and like it has all this detail about how, like, what funding you're doing, or not promotion, what is the word? Advertising and sponsorship. Yeah, I'm not sponsored. I'm just, well, sponsored by myself, and so I don't know if that's a bad thing, but yeah, Anko glue, just to get started. So I don't know if you see that, that's my idea, getting some planking on there, and I thought about it a little bit, offset the sticks, and I saw that in the actual plastic model. They're sort of offset little bits. So I'll keep going. Talk to the hands because the face don't want to know it. That's definitely right blue. So how are we going to do this? Don't know how. Shipwright, I think is the right terminology of how they would lay their planks. Like how does a shipwright build a ship? I'm not too sure. I haven't built a real one. I'm only building plastic and cardboard and paper ones. So, as I've always seen in the streaming, if it looks right and you like it, it's fine. It's about making it look cool, I think is the word. Now, probably see how I've gone a little bit over the edge. It's just gonna make it a bit tricky if I. Oh, let's see if these cut. Yeah, that's when the safety glasses come in, just in case. Make sure I don't take an eye out, because I sort of do need those. We'll just keep layering these on. So if you just joined me, this is my first live streaming, and we are starting off with something, well, I've had in my mind for a little while. I got this ship from the tip store, which is just like, I think it was a couple of dollars. Came with a little couple of pieces. I think it's from a board game where it balanced on something and you had to knock the penguins off. But I've only got these 3 bits, so building the base for it. So yes, tabletop miniatures, pirates maybe, out on a sea voyage, but it's got this awesome void in the bottom which fits the miniatures. So I'm thinking building the lower deck and seeing how well I can craft on a live stream. So far 5 viewers. Wow, we need to hold things a bit higher towards the top of the screen when showing in future, and tilt the camera down a little. Right. So yeah, I could get a little bit higher. I'll have to work on that. My setup is very amateur. Bits and pieces whacked together. Yeah, that's better. So a little bit higher. So these are coffee stir sticks, or barbecue stick, not barbecue sticks, what do I call them? Hot dog sticks. And what I was doing is cutting the little ends off, and it works quite nicely with this little, I don't know, what is this? Some garage tool that I picked up sometime, and quite simply cuts that off, and that, so it flattens it out, and then layering them across this base that I've cut out to match the inside of the ship, so that will go on it, and then that base, once it's ready, we'll glue onto this white base, which I'll cut out eventually, and that'll make the lower deck of the ship. So that will pop off when you're playing your tabletop game, giving you a little bit extra gameplay on this particular little ship, and we'll go from there. So, Littlefoot, yes. How is it going? Thank you for joining me on this first, what do you call them? Inauguration of a live stream. So, any hints and tips, as I can see? I can probably get that camera down a little bit further, but as I have amateurly, what do we call, balanced it on a, yeah, it's balanced. So if it bumps and I all of a sudden get a headshot, then there you go. But right now it is staying where it is, and I can fix that before my next live stream. But thank you for the input for that. It'll help me. So what I'm doing here is these, just making the lower decking. You can see the ship that I've found has quite well textured wood grain decking imprinted on it. So what I'm trying to do is, I mean, these are slightly larger, but I'm not gonna go down to split that even further. That's just going to be a bit painful. So yeah, it's not quite showing up on the stream, but there's actually some actual wood grain texture on this plastic here, so it looks quite cool. So I thought I'd try and capture that with some coffee stir sticks, or hot dog sticks as they call them, and we'll just keep layering them up and go from there. Now I can already sense I need some slightly better tools, but you got to work with what you've got to start with any new venture. And in saying that, I have got quite a few different little tools that I've picked up over the years, intending to craft, and just never quite got to the crafting part. So I've been rushing around today finding the bits and pieces that I've collected and trying to get them in a easily at hand place to help craft quickly, because when you're on live there's no time to run off to another room to find a knife, is there? No, you got to have it in arm's reach, otherwise, what do they call that on a stream? A live stream. Unpreparedness, I believe. That's what I'm calling it. Unpreparedness. And I don't want to start my first stream being unprepared. I mean, obviously there's stuff I'm not going to have because I didn't think about it, but being unprepared, oh. Be careful. Great start. Great for a start. Thank you. Yes. Great start. Great start, if I do say so myself. It is quite weird the way I've set it up. I am literally just talking to myself. I'm not listening to myself because I find that quite distracting. So I'm just making sure, obviously, Blue at the beginning confirmed that he could hear me, and obviously you're answering me, so when I'm talking I'm being heard. Ego much. But this is sort of like I'm just sitting there talking to myself. I've got a little screen sort of straight ahead of me that I can see my little live video on, but I'm not listening to any audio. So periodically I might just say comms check or something, just to make sure that I am not just going mad or have gone mad and people can still hear me. I got some gloves for some crafting, but haven't used them yet. I mean, tacky glue's not like gonna harm me, and the tools I've got aren't really gonna hurt me if at this time. So I do, however, have safety glasses on, as every crafter potentially should, because I don't want to cut this wood and have it flick into my eye, or anything else for that matter. So that there is the planking. Now there's going to be some other things I'll do for now, because I see some people craft streaming and their videos, not live, but they use hot glue, because obviously that's faster. So this is going to need to dry, so I can't work on it anymore, and I probably shouldn't try and cut these excess bits off just yet, because it'll just flick all these bits off at me. So I will just move to my side desk and just put a little bit of plastic down on it, so that I can weigh it down while that dries, and I'll continue on. So just a random piece of plastic, just so that the weight that I put on it doesn't stick, because already I can sort of feel it sort of bowing a little bit. I don't know if that's coming through, but it's starting to bend itself a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just put that plastic on it so the glue doesn't stick to whatever I sit on it, and put it on a desk next to me with some weight, so that it can dry properly. And these are things I need to think about going forward, as having these things at hand. So, lawnmower battery, nice and heavy, on top of the plastic holding that down to glue. And what I can do is we'll come back to this. So that piece I was working on is going to sit in this gap when it sits onto it, so it'll also hold it like in place on the little scene I'm building. And so I've traced the ship, and what I reckon I need to do is cut this out a little bit, and if I put some, eventually I'll put some sort of texture paste on it, I think, with some sort of water feature, so like waves and whatnot, so that when you're looking at the ship, you'll have some waves coming up along the side, but not too much. See how I've got it quite close to the edge there, because then if you have another ship, you don't want the base to get in the way, because if I left all this on and you had another ship come along, it would either have to sit on this, which I don't want it to, and make this more of like a diorama. It's not really a scene, it's a ship I want to use on a tabletop, and potentially have another ship next to it for like a battle, or maybe along a dock, so parked in a dock or something like that. So I don't want this, so I'm going to cut that off at a right angle. There we use this. So let's go something a bit longer, not longer. Live stream 101, have a longer ruler. Alright, so how long have we got here? So health and safety, nice. That's the one. Just noticed when the volume went down, there was a bit of double audio going through. I'm wondering if that was when I was standing up from my chair, maybe. I've got like a speaker with one of those shield things in front of it, but I'm not sure that helps. Here we go. So I want a nice crisp line down there. So I think that'll be cool, and what we'll do is make sure 18. Yeah. Right. So cut this. Right. Nice sharp knife. Gentle but firm. This is just some, what do you call it, foam core. I sort of I see people in the States have stuff that they can peel off the paper and you texturize the foam piece in the middle. I've tried that with this stuff and it just doesn't come away, and it's more hassle than it is to peel it off and use this little piece of foam. So I've yet to find a product here that's similar. A few people use it in the States or Canada, and they can peel this paper off and then texture the actual piece of foam in the middle. But that's for more sort of building brickwork and whatnot. I'm essentially using this as a relatively solid base. It doesn't need to be wood or anything, it doesn't need to be heavy. And so my ship will sit on the base, so that'll be one whole piece. So that'll be the ship. So I suppose what I could do is nicely curve the edges. So, I don't need all this back bit either. So I could go straight across the back, get some of that off. Although you could have some wake. Although if you had the wake, it would always look like it's moving, but if it's in a dock, it's not going to be moving. So I could have still water or some waves, or just little waves. Or I could make two of them and make different scenes, but right now I'm not going to do that. So I reckon I don't need all that space at the back, so I'll slice the back off, and we'll need some nice so a little bit of stuff at the back just for a bit of texture. One of the crafts videos I've got is my kraken, little baby kraken, with a cultist guy sort of trying to tame it, and I used texture paste to make the waves around the little kraken, and that worked really well. So that's my idea with this as well. I don't have that close to hand, so but that'll be my next stream, I think. But I intend to make some waves. So once that base goes on that fills that gap, that'll be stuck to this base, and then this will essentially click onto it and give me the area of where the boat's going to sit on this base. Obviously I've traced the outline, but that's not actually where it sits. And then when that pops off, it'll have the lower deck on here, and then I'll have an outline, and then I can put this texture paste and sort of follow this line here and make like wake lines in the texture paste, so waves along the side of the ship and coming off the back just a fraction. So that'll make that as like the whole piece will look like it's a ship moving through the water. And this was the what do you call this, mast that came with it, but I mean it works on the front one as a small little thing. But I'm wondering if I sort of make the mast itself out of something that can click on to here, maybe. Magnets. I see a lot of crafters using some magnets. I could make a little magnetized mast, because then you could obviously just pop it off and store it better. I've made a couple of cardboard boats that I've never finished, which I'll probably try and live stream some addition to, that was all made out of cardboard. And this masts was something I had ideas for but haven't done, and I've got fabric and bits and pieces to try and play with, so I might do that and make like this a 3-piece set, because I've got two ships that I got to the point of undercoating before they needed some extra detail, and I think that'll work quite well as with these ones, as having like three ships in a fleet, or one ship being chased by the others type thing, or one ship crashed. And that's what I was thinking with the base as well, is I could potentially make another base for this one, and instead of this being textured with water, maybe I could angle it and make it underwater. So then this would be an underwater scene somehow of a sunken ship. So at the moment I'm building it as a floating ship, but I reckon I could quite easily pop this off, make another base, but make it angled somehow, and make it like a sunken underwater scene for the same ship. So maybe the ship, as it's going along on this scene, gets attacked, blown up, and then the next one, your ship, take that away, make another one, is sunken at the bottom of the ocean, and you've got some different map but using the same pieces, or most of the same pieces. So what have we got? I reckon my first stream is probably going to be an hour, so we've got another 10 minutes give or take, because I don't want to burn myself out on the first stream. That'd be an amateur move, wouldn't it? So what do we got? And this is quite nice to cut as well, and these pieces, I mean, they could be other bits. So offcuts, don't waste them. Little pieces, don't waste them. All the little bits, don't waste them. Got to keep all these little bits, all these things. So I'm thinking I might leave this as is right now. So we've got that. We've got this bit drying, which has got a little bit of clear stuff on it that I'll peel off once the glue's dried. So that is going to get cut off the excess, and that is the base of the lower deck of this ship on this scene. So when you sit it here, it'll just look like a ship on the water, texturizing this and painting it to look like water. And then as you go below deck, you pop that off, and you got below deck, above deck, little scene where you can, if I had another ship or whatever, you could attack that ship and have a battle in here. Maybe there's a treasure chest or something, and so that whole scene is going to be relatively compact as well. So a nice little starting piece for my first stream, and something that I can see is going to be quite fun. And I can take these little bits into some of the other builds. So like I said, I've got a couple of other ships that are probably another half as big. They ended up being about that big, yeah. So maybe they're chasing this one. You could have a scene where they're chasing this one and they have a battle between them. Or maybe this one's the cargo one and you've got to protect it from, what are those, naga, underwater creatures, or mer people, or heaven forbid a dragon. So this is where I'm heading, and hopefully that was a nice bit of crafting. I thank you for the people who have joined me this evening. Who have we got? We've got Game Zombies. Thank you, Game Zombies. We've got Blue. Thank you, Blue, for being on here first and confirming that we had sound. And Ashes of the Woken Dead. For, yes, I will tweak my camera maybe a little bit closer, and yeah, so I'll make it a full hour. So we'll go 8 minutes. What can I do in 8 minutes? We've got, I'll put this back because this needs to dry. I've got bits and pieces at hand on another desk just in case I need them. Little clips that come in very handy to hold bits together. Although these are quite pressurized, so it can crush some of your more delicate foam that I've been using. This one is quite handy because it doesn't crush it. You can just push it just a little bit to hold something together. And my daughters love these as little sorting toys, or just see them as their own, which is fair. What are the tools? I thought I might have to texture these coffee stir sticks somehow, but I've seen someone use like these little metal brushes, but these sticks are actually quite well textured by themselves because they are wood. And I think me trying to gouge them even more might, I don't know, just be a bit painful. Maybe going forward I could find a better method, but someone uses, I think it's, I've definitely seen it on Black Magic Craft. Jeremy uses this on foam. So like if you had the foam from the inside of this, it would be sort of flat, so you'd carve your wood paneling in, and then you'd scrape it with these to give it sort of like a wood grain texture. But I don't think I need to do it with these coffee stir sticks. You can't really see the grain, but it's close enough. I mean, this boat has very textured actual texture on it, so when I do paint this, it'll pop up like wood grain, whereas this will be close enough, I think, for me for the first build. I did have a glue stick, but I didn't feel I needed to start that up this evening. because I haven't used it and I don't want to stink the place out. And yeah, I can already see a couple of little improvements, and thank you for all your input. Just trying to find some little things to do. I mean, I don't want to keep you for 5 minutes, but I should really try and stick. If I'm going to say an hour, I better stick to an hour. And that at least gives me a good amount of time to get things checked off and underway. And I suppose going forward, if I stick to an hour, then people can come and go as they see fit, and have a good little chat, and it gets stuff done for me. I mean, that's the whole point of this channel, Foam the Ground Up, is it's given me a purpose to actually put my ideas into stuff. So I mean, I've got a number of little bits and pieces like this boat that I've looked at and gone, I could do this with it. And it's been sitting in maybe a box or tucked on a shelf for too long, and that idea is just sitting in my head. So getting this channel set up and getting this already started, this is what I envisaged for it, because of this gap, filling the gap with a lower deck, and I'm already a decent way in. I've got the deck drying for the bit to stick on here, and once we cut that, that'll almost click that on, and I reckon a bit of texture. I'm thinking I might keep the actual. I might just bevel the edge so it's not a corner, but actually keep that sort of shape, because then that's a nice piece to move around a board as it is. So, and then oh gosh, painting. I don't know. We'll see about live streaming that. I might have to do periodic updates or something. Or yeah, that's going to be tricky. But I think we're getting somewhere, and I'm getting this out of my head. So I think that's another problem, is too many things in my head. So if I can get it out and turn it into something, then that's got to be healthy, right? So yeah. Well, 1 minute by my clock. So some good takeaways, some camera setup, some sound, maybe some little not promo things, but like little things to add in, like a product I use or something. Tools, because people don't want to just see me crafting, they want to maybe see how did I do that, or what did I think there. I mean, this tool here, I don't even know what this is called. Some form of nail trimmer thing, but for me it is the perfect tool to trim the ends off these sticks to make them wooden planks with no effort. So I'm going to need a lot of those, because another project I've got is going to use those, so I've got a good method for them. But thank you very much. That is, I think, the conclusion of my first inaugural stream. So, thank you very much for everyone who joined, and hopefully I will work out a bit of a schedule and people can just drop by and craft, chat, whatever. Thank you very much. Alright, thank you all for joining me tonight. There we go, look at that. Even participated in the chat. Thank you all. Catch you next time.